It's a very low barrier to get into the Gronk Squad.
That's crazy.
We've committed to do the Daily Talk Show for 10 years.
Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Put it in the calendar.
That one in.
Just like to check the temperature in the room.
I told you my squeegee story.
It is outrageous.
Come on, let's go. It's the Daily Talk Show, episode 954.
Happy Monday, 8th of Feb. Lovely day.
Are you a guy that picks his nose?
Yeah.
How often do you think you pick your nose?
Well, I think any real picker couldn't tell you that.
Yeah, it's just constant.
It just happens, bro. No, but hang on.
Have you thought about it's an issue? Like I have actually had moments where I'm like,
I've got problems.
I've got to stop.
No, but I think most people have that. It's usually like when something, they've got like a little scratch or something develops like, I don't know if you have a cold. I actually don't do it all the time until I realise that I am then doing it all the time.
Do you think it's healthy to not do it?
Healthy to not do it. I've heard someone talk about you can die from doing it.
Okay.
But that person's probably like tap water will kill you.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a chance everything can kill you. There's a chance your phone could just somehow explode in your pocket and end you.
Yeah. Do you think that you are you like a dry, like do you have dry snot?
Why are we going here? What's your problem?
It's
disgusting, dude. Why are we talking about this for a Monday?
No, but is it like I find that it sort of can sometimes line
but
my inner
I know how it
nose.
works.
Does that happen to you too?
But I don't know. I mean,
I just feel like working from home, I was picking my nose a lot, whereas now being back at the office, there's other people. It's like,
and you've stopped.
Well, I know a friend that they've been having stomach issues since going back to their office because they can't fart as much as what they were when working from home.
Fair. And so maybe nostrils around the globe are filling back up with snot that hasn't been picked based on working, restrictions. Oh my God. There was another case of coronavirus obtained. I think that's the right word, but someone who was in the hotel quarantine program working at the hotel quarantine at Melbourne Airport has caught COVID.
Is this the one that went to
4 locations? Yeah. One of them being a cake shop on a Friday. That night also went to the bottle shop, Dan Murphy's. Saturday, didn't get enough alcohol, went back to Dan Murphy's, but also went to Off Your Tree. The 4 locations that you have to declare, a bong shop, a bottle shop, and a cake shop. It's pretty funny that they're...
I did think that. They got really specific with the time.
They have to.
No, but like as in, normally it's like between 15:15 or whatever. Off Your Tree said the person arrived at like 17 past. I wonder if they've literally looked at the security footage.
Good point.
And done it based on that.
Yeah, I mean, who would else be tracking their time like that?
Yeah.
That's even going there. I mean, the thing about it is you'd look at your credit card or if you spent money there. I mean, it's probably everyone's spending cash at Off Your Tree.
Yeah.
Off Your Tree is or was when I was growing up a bong shop. So they'd sell every type of glass bong or smoking apparatus.
Would they also do sort of synthetic? So stuff that's technically not illegal.
Well, I think they've made it illegal now. Maybe there is some, but dude, synthetic marijuana was a thing and it was legal for a long time and it really ruined people's lives.
Well,
like more so than weed in people that I'd known.
Yeah.
The addiction was out of control. But bongs are illegal to sell in Australia now. I think maybe.
So what's Off Your Tree selling?
Flower vases.
Oh, really?
Well, that's what this is what people were selling bongs as after the law came in. A vase. Just put your flowers in there. Nice little daffodil. I mean, around a little, in through the small little bong piece, the cone piece. God. But that was quite entertaining.
Yeah. We're talking about COVID and lockdowns and all that sort of thing. Our mates in WA, I think they did 5 days. Nicole sent us an email. Hey guys, wanted to reach out and say thank you for keeping me sane last week during WA's lockdown.
Well, one case and went into 5 days of lockdown. But yeah, so it was like almost just like they gave everyone the week off work, or you had to work
Long
from
week.
home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Today, when Josh was reading about the history of mimosas, I swear it was like listening to ASMR. He should read an audiobook or something just for fun. Thanks, Nick. Thank you for your email.
My mum reads audiobooks. Well, she started to through that online platform. What is it? The meditation. OnlyFans. No, Mum doesn't have an OnlyFans. But you can. So there's like story time. So you could read a kid's book. It's actually quite nice. I mean, it takes a fair bit of time, and then you've got to get it like to read for an. I mean, what's the longest stint you've read for without even reading out aloud? So imagine doing just in the comparison to reading an audiobook.
2 hours.
Which is still quite a long time to hold attention to
just think it like I remember Michelle and Zara from Shameless when they were doing their audiobook. They were like losing their voice. Like it is a full-on experience.
Because you want it to all sound great. Like you can't. I reckon I've been able to pick up on an audiobook of when someone's done a new session, like just maybe the morning. They came back and did a morning. Like some people's morning voice is a real thing. Yeah. Just a bit husky.
Yeah, you got to imagine a lot of butter menthols.
Yeah, you get it fired up. Dude, I reckon I've had post-traumatic stress.
I believe it. Working with me.
Yeah, I mean, I've got through that and I'm working on it. Medication's been good. No, you're right, mate. You're right. The incident that happened across the road from my house, which I haven't talked about yet. No
Are you
joke.
going to talk about it?
I think I've got to talk about it.
Okay. It's affecting you.
Well, I've got to talk about it. I think scared the shit out of me. But even like last night.
Are you going to change any of the details?
I just don't say the street that I live on.
Okay. And so TJ.
I can change the suburb, which would make sense.
Okay. And so TJ called me on a Sunday before 9 a.m.
Which surprised you what you answered?
No,
what did you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is TJ's got
He's calling for something. He's not just calling to say, what's up?
Yeah. And so you called and you were freaked out and you had a story. Yeah.
And so last night I woke up at 11:30, couldn't sleep for an hour and a half, which is why I thought, fuck, I've definitely got some kind of post-traumatic stress.
So that happened with me. So where that happened with me was when the fire was in our apartment block.
Yeah.
And so you sort of, and because the smell stays, you sort of are on edge. And the guy who started the fire next door to us a few years ago, do you remember he came back after a few months and accidentally called our doorbell rather than his one at like 3 a.m. Yeah. And then I got up in the next morning and berated him, being like, we're on edge because your fucking apartment burnt down.
Yeah.
And so, it is very, like, especially in the evenings, I've said this to you before, you wake up during the night, you will feel like the world is ending.
Well, last night at 11:30, I just couldn't sleep. And all I was thinking about was what happened. So let's take you back. The morning I called you, so that was 9 a.m. Let's go back. 9:30 p.m. Previous day, Saturday night, was off to bed.
Early one.
Well, this is quite standard when you've got a kid, and unless you want to push
on
through
a Saturday,
and watch, even on a Saturday, dude. So so we got into bed. You know, it was a nice night. Had the window cracked, so it was wide open. Which our bedroom's looking out to the street. We kind of elevated a bit, which is nice. Makes you feel like you're a bit safer when you've just got a couple of meters between you and the floor, you and the ground.
What's underneath?
It's just house. It's on a sloped block.
Okay.
So the front of the house, it shows you how much of a wedge we're actually in.
Could someone get into your window easily?
Very tough.
Okay.
Would need a ladder.
Oh, that's
like
good.
That kind of vibe.
Great.
So windows open, gone to sleep, house is all locked up, which is standard. Bodie's in his room, which is awesome, and not off. Wake up, and it's very, very early. It's almost the middle of the night. You know, that's just so still. Yeah. No wind. You can actually hear everything outside.
Do you reckon there's less wind in the middle of the night?
I think that a lot of the time the wind drops off at night, but it's not to say that it can't be windy at night.
Is it a light thing?
Morning time, less wind. Good to get out for a nice surf. I love surfing in the morning.
Okay.
And then the wind
Dangerous
just picks
for
up.
sharks.
Yeah, so from my studies of being out there in the water, if you get out for an early surf, the wind can all change by 9 a.m. and it's windy. So it was zero wind, which means you could hear everything. And fuck, I heard something. And what I heard was doom, doom, doom. So the front door, imagine like a fly screen just being pounded. Doom, doom, doom. And then someone yelling at the top of their lungs, Frankston Police, open up.
I was going to go Cranbourne.
Yeah, I could go.
Frankston, Cranbourne, Berwick, any.
Doom, doom, doom.
Collingwood
Police, open up. Search warrant. Just like this clear, aggressive, controlling voice. Doom, doom, doom. Frankston Police, open up. Search warrant. It wasn't our house, if that's what you're thinking. We have a fly wire and it wasn't our place.
Yep.
But line of sight across the road to this bloke's house is someone smashing his door saying, Frankston Police, open up. I'm thinking, oh, fuck, there's a raid happening. This guy's a bit dodgy. I know he's dodgy. He looks dodgy. I thought he was dodgy when I moved in. And so I'm like, right, there's a fucking raid happening. Oh, my God. I sit up. I'm completely nude.
Classic.
And I'm just listening at my window, just wide open, listening. Boom, boom, boom. Frankston Police, open up. Search warrant. And then his dog's going off and you hear him yelling. And then I hear this, restrain your dog. We will shoot it. I'm like, oh, my God. Fuck, they've got their guns out. I wasn't looking at this time. I was just listening because I was like a bit pissed. I'd had a few beers the day before and I was just a bit fucking foggy. And Amy's woken up too. Oh, my God. And so you hear a smash of a window. Like it's so distinct at night. No sound, no wind. And then I decided to get up and have a look. Next minute, I'm seeing three guys at the door. Just like one's got this this wheelie bin clearing the glass to then crawl into the house. I'm thinking, oh no, the dog's gone off. They can't hear it now. And then they open the door and they all get in. And he's still saying, Frankston Police, search warrant. And then for the next 5 or what could have been 10 minutes, time sort of stopped. You just hear the sort of crunching of glass walking around this house, still yelling, search warrant. And Amy and I are freaked out, like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, what's this guy done to be getting raided? I said to Amy, what time is it? She said 3:30. It was 3:30 a.m. in the morning. And we just felt a bit funny about it. Especially Amy was like, what's going on? This seems unusual. Let's call the police as well. And so I was like, no, they're the police. And then I started feeling it was a bit weird at 3:30 a.m. And then all of a sudden you hear one of them yell out, Officer Brian. It wasn't the name that he used. He used a different one. But it was very, like, it was a word. It's like you wouldn't question the officer's name that he yelled. And then all of a sudden you hear toot, toot, toot. And I see them all walking out. They get into the car and drive off.
Why did the car toot, do you think?
They were in a rush.
Okay.
In my mind, mate, these are cops. They've got to go off to another raid because this guy's done something. He's not there or whatever it be, the person they're looking for. Anyway, we were really freaked out about it. So we called the cops. And at this point, we're thinking, they've gone. Maybe that wasn't the police. Maybe that wasn't Frankston Police doing a raid on his house. And so I got onto the operator and I told them the story. And at the point I said, I don't know if it was police. Police cars drove past, 2 cars. I didn't see the car that they drove off in. They were like, it was behind a bush that was out. So it was out of my line of sight. But I saw the people walking out and it was completely quiet. No dog after. We're like, this guy's done. He's been shot or something's happened. I probably would have heard the shot. But I thought this guy's in trouble.
Yeah.
So cops go past and I tell the person, I don't know if it was cops. Plot twist, it was not the police. This was 3 guys that went in, making it out like they were the cops and raided this guy's house. Fuck me. At that point, that was like 3:45 and then next minute, it's a crime scene. Paramedics are there, police are there, real police, detectives, like these guys in different...
Did you go out? Do you have clothes on by this point?
At this point, I whacked a hoodie on. Nice little Cotton On number.
No pants.
I had shorts on, but I was barefoot.
Okay.
And so I walked out thinking, fuck, like we were spot on. Like we cottoned onto it after the fact. I was convinced it was police for majority of it until it sort of just went a bit funny and it just felt wrong. And so I walked up to one of the detectives. And it's so funny how blasé that, like, it's, g'day. And it's the middle of the night. And I'm just like, I saw all that. I mean, I couldn't see anything. So other than just relaying what I've told you, I couldn't tell them much more than that.
Yeah.
But I saw it all, heard it all the neighbours heard it all. But
were any other neighbours out?
Yeah, well, at the front door and surroundings.
Were you talking to them?
No, I didn't. I texted my mate who got spoken to, who lives across the road. I texted him later on when I saw him leave for work early. Like
How many cop cars?
3.
Do they have their lights on?
Nah, just light, pushing out lights so they could see. But no, other than when they came to the property, but no sirens or anything. And then it was a crime scene for like the next 12
so there's
hours.
Tape? Where did they tape it?
Taped it from a tree onto a house, around the whole house of this one, of the actual house. But then I saw the dude, he came out. He wasn't limping. He was there.
How's his dog?
Who knows? It was alive. Okay. I could hear it. And so the creepiest thing is, I mean, it's all just fucking creepy. At the point that there's people out there doing this shit that aren't police, but are saying they are. And so I just haven't been able to fucking shake the thought of it and what happened. And then it not being random. I don't think it was random. There's a bunch of assumptions I've made. Yeah. The interesting thing when you talk to the police, they don't tell you anything. I just want them to be like, bro, here's what happened. Here's what went down. Yeah. They're just like, tell me what happened, blah, blah, blah. And like, I still haven't confirmed that it wasn't police. I just know it wasn't police because the police came after. But they won't tell you anything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very interesting. And so the reason I was talking about it now is because nothing's happened. No one's called me about anything. They had my number and they were speaking to me. You know, nothing's happened.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And I feel like that was so violent. I don't know what happened. You could say violence is when someone's, severely injured, which I don't think he was.
It's like brazen.
A violent break-in. Like it was fucking next level, dude. Like my heart was going so hard, and I'm so lucky Bodie didn't wake up. But we're like a kid-friendly street, oldies in there too. Like I had to stop one of the cops going to the next door neighbour. I was like, mate, you will give that guy a heart attack.
Yeah, really.
He's that old.
Yeah.
And it's 3:45 a.m. Don't go into his house. And so then he came over to me, which I kind of wanted him to, at that point. But I couldn't get back to sleep. So I was up from 3:45.
So that was on the day. And so you're not sleep. So you woke up.
I haven't slept since.
Some coffee.
It's 2 weeks later, dude.
No, how much? It hasn't been 2 weeks. It's been a week, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's only been
a week.
Over a week, yeah.
And so what's the feeling when you wake up? Is it are the doors locked? Where's Bodie?
I'm literally doing all the security, just ramp that up. Got my security camera called Trevor, thanks to Trev Long. I've nicknamed it Trevor. He's keeping guard. But other than that, like last night, just hearing the dude's dog bark and then I was just standing at the window looking for fucking...
Do you wish you had a torch?
No.
No, because you don't want to shine it.
Amy literally opened the door to go out when it happened.
Oh, no.
I said, no.
Yeah.
Don't, because I was like, if it is police, they don't need our help. If it isn't police, you don't want to have anything to do with those chunts.
Well, I sent you a video over the weekend because I know you sometimes like gore stuff, or you've said that to me before, where it's like, oh yeah, have you seen the video of the car accident or whatever? It's just
didn't see that one, the one that did happen, but I'm getting worse in my older age.
Of watching gore stuff.
Yeah, I struggle.
Oh, like as in you struggle watching it.
I struggle watching it. I struggle,
which I think is a
good. It out.
Also, I think that's a good response. I went down the rabbit hole of watching defense videos, and it's all like I reckon it's maybe coming off dash cams or watching. No, it's cops. You know how I watched Cops the other day, yeah. And so now I'm just getting all this gun related stuff. And there was the one where it's like neighbors fighting, arguing. And a neighbour just goes inside, gets a gun, shoots both of them in the head.
Which I think a couple of questions you might have for me. Did I film it? No, I didn't, which is fucking unusual for me. Like, I'm usually onto it, but I was so rattled by it happening, which seems weird because maybe I didn't feel like I needed to film it because it was the cops, which I thought.
So maybe the thing is, I'm
actually glad I didn't film it because I would be watching it nonstop and just, it would be painted. It's already fucking like, what do you call it? Like etched into my brain.
But don't you think that sometimes, so like you have a different, like my default in those circumstances, I know that I'm going to be useless except filming. It's so ingrained in me that like I get the camera straight away.
Yeah. No, I am. I film a lot.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I just decided not to. And I was like,
it's the middle of the night. If you haven't, so
rattled.
When I was living in Collingwood, there were probably half a dozen serious incidents that happened, and we were on level 5, so we were sort of away from it. But I'm known as a guy calling 000. That like we had the guy on Victoria Street getting stabbed, all that sort of stuff. And
you didn't film that one though, because that was pretty serious.
Yeah, that's a good point. But the thing
when they're serious, dude, it makes you think twice. You're like,
well, I think that it's like when you're so there's a big difference, I think, between the safety of being up in your apartment and being able to be on a balcony and film versus you're in the scene, you're in the street. Like, so that guy, it's like, but it's also hard because some of these things, when someone's being injured or whatever, it's a medical issue as well. Like, they're fucking, like, are we going to have to do something? Like something seems more distasteful of filming someone when someone's being injured versus say, I filmed the Macpac Ram raid where cars were slamming into a shop.
Well, it seems just like dummies trying to break into a hard thing to get into. But this was like a guy was in there, serious, like 3 people storming the joint.
Yeah.
Yelling, and then as soon as you work out that it wasn't cops, it's like it adds another layer that it's eerie. Like, what were they doing inside? What were they looking for? Why did they do it? Why that house? So many questions, which I'm sure the detectives fucking trying to get to the bottom of.
Does it make you want it because you've spoken about wanting to be a cop? Seeing that thing, does it make you want to be a cop or be like, I can't be fucked with this drama?
Nah, I mean, I do think I could be a great cop. I'd probably be the best cop.
Yeah, you would be. So Bree, on High Street on Friday, in Windsor, just outside Paran Grocer, had there were 3 chicks, and 2 of them were beating the shit out of another chick.
Horrible. On
the ground, blood everywhere. Guy from an architect firm next to the grocer came out, started helping the girl, had to fucking actually throw punches.
Really?
At these chicks were fucking feral. Seemed like drug related or whatever.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you do realize that when things happen, the cops take a while to get there. Like I feel like
here's the question though. Yeah. The cops were at the scene within 4 or 5 minutes after these people had left.
How long do you think the whole incident went for?
Around about 15 minutes.
And so the thing is,
maybe
as soon as you
10 minutes the time that they're there.
If you heard glass smash, surely someone at that point, even if they didn't hear the whole Frankston police or whatever, they would. If you hear glass smash, you'll call. And so maybe there's a difference too around, hey, there's glass that's being smashed.
That's where who called? Who called it in?
But then you do have to, like, I think where I've landed on all this defense stuff I'm watching, there is an appeal when, you're talking about doing some form of Jiu Jitsu or something like that.
Martial art, yeah.
Martial art. I wonder, for one, what's involved. So what I don't like
getting
about
sweaty
it,
and rolling around and dripping sweat into each other's faces.
Well, so the thing is, you've got to keep in mind that the last real fitness experience that you and I have had together is us walking around Fitness First Richmond. And it's just
it's great. Loved it.
It's a bit of a scene. It's a bit of a, you got to be there, like it's the closest thing to a nightclub without going to a nightclub.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know
and so
a martial arts, are they a scene?
No, yeah. So I wonder what because the only martial arts.
They're cultures.
Yeah.
And so
what do you think the culture, because you did martial arts, didn't you?
Yeah. I did Muay Thai for many years.
Uh-huh.
There's a culture around Muay Thai that can be a bit aggressive, tough people.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I haven't done Jiu Jitsu, but I've got mates that have done it. And
can you talk me through a class of Muay Thai?
Starts out just some stretching, skipping, shadow boxing. Depending if we're doing pad work, we might start doing some, partner up, do some front kicks, some roundhouse kicks. Might start low, go sort of midway, rotate, do some pad work.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
Yeah,
bag work, depends on where you're at. Then you can do some sparring sessions. But my point is, I think I think there's probably a bit of a difference between culture of Jiu-Jitsu and the culture of kickboxing. Jiu-Jitsu is very controlled, but also
meditative.
You're meant to tap, you tap, so you stop as soon as someone's feeling pain or they can't get out of the position. You can tap. And I don't know. I was looking at trying to find a place to do Jiu-Jitsu, and there was one. It was like the top 10 places. Is this what
Rogan does? Is this the appeal? Well, not the appeal, but the appeal. No, but I get when you listen so much to someone.
No, but it's so much more popular than when I was young.
Joe Rogan made it more popular though?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is extremely fucking popular. I think
it's hard to find places in Melbourne.
No,
is it? Or
there's heaps. But I think Joe Rogan has definitely brought a lot of attention to it. One of his best friends is a guy who's started 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, which is like a school or a way of training, that has become very popular based on that. But like Sam Harris, there's like
Sam Harris does it.
Yeah, he does it. He does jiu-jitsu. Lex Friedberg, he's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
He looks like it too.
So the thing about
he looks like an FBI agent. Why does he always wear a suit?
Smart scientist. The thing is that to be good at it or to have your black belt, you need to consistently do it for 10 years. And so I think that's where it's like, think about how popular nowadays is just sticking at something. Sure. Start small, just every day chip away. It's the same with a martial art, something like jiu-jitsu. You will get much better slowly and it takes you, you won't get it quickly.
Do you know what the different, what the belts?
You can get your black belt quicker than 10 years. Okay. I will say. You could get it, I think my mate told me 3 or 4 years if you were just like a freak. And
so what are they looking at when they're doing it?
Some of the best videos that will make you cry is people receiving their black belts.
For you.
No joke.
No.
Dude, I reckon you'd cry too. Yeah. I reckon Joe Rogan, you can watch him getting his black belt from Andy Bravo. He's crying. You can watch Israel Adesanya, who's a New Zealand fighter, who's very big at the moment, him getting like a purple belt. And there's all these setup.
Good or bad?
It's not your black belt, but it's getting there. And it's so funny because that one, he's like, they set up to do a position where he's like, imagine me sitting on the ground on my bum, my knees sort of up, my feet on the ground, and then you sort of nestle into me and do the same, and then I'm over the top. And this guy tricks him and gets him in front. He's like, okay, so what we're going to do here, and then he just whips out the belt in front of him, and he looks down and he starts crying.
So you don't know when you're going to get it.
It's decided upon by the coach, the head.
So what's the
I don't know what they call them at the
what do I need to be good at? Or anyone that wants to try, are they looking at technique, how you're kicking?
The belt system?
Yeah.
There's no kicking in jiu-jitsu.
Why is that funny?
Because it just seems funny that you think that jiu-jitsu is kicking.
What's jiu-jitsu? It's
all on the ground. It's the closest thing. It's wrestling. Okay. It's submissions, arm bars, leg locks.
There's a great video.
Chokes.
There's a great video of a because this defense thing, what they do is anytime something big happens, like a robbery or whatever, this guy who's wearing a red polo shirt, you can actually buy them online. they do merch.
Okay.
Deconstructs the whole thing and says, they didn't create a defensive fence. They didn't do this. They didn't do that. I fucking watched 3 hours of it over the weekend. And one of the great ones, I actually sent it to you. Did you watch the one with the high school kid?
No.
So there's one where it's like these somewhere in South America, I think, at a petrol station, guy tries to abduct 3 kids. The mother and the kids run into a shop. The guy starts like they're like trying to close the shop. The guy gets in and's like punching people and all that sort of thing. And this big guy actually reminded me of Conspiracy Jimmy, but a high school kid who just won the wrestling, like the amateur wrestling or whatever in his the high school wrestling in his town. Came in, grabs the guy and just lies on him, just on it, and just holds him until the police arrive.
Yeah.
It was amazing because it actually is very hard, having watched all these defensive videos, hard to keep someone down who doesn't want to be kept down. Unless
you were really good at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like
most people don't know how to. I would struggle.
Mm-hmm. Like correctional struggle. Well, like corrections officers or whatever. Like there's a guy who. Like,
I think there's a difference between. So if there was 2 people and someone who knew jiu-jitsu, and like you're trying to think about this other guy's going to kick you in the fucking head, because it's if you get someone into a chokehold and it's actually sunk in, they're fucked.
Yeah. And so it would be nice that, like, I do just the anxiety level, just thinking about
having to submerge in a culture to learn something.
Yeah,
you're totally right. Jiu-jitsu is you're rolling around with men straddled on each other. Like at that moment, it just who's doing that? Who is like in your personal space? And so that's where people either hate it or fucking really enjoy it.
Yeah. I think
I haven't done it yet, so I can't tell you. I really
you want to do it.
I need to get in. I want to find the right
what's
place.
the first session? So this is the thing. Like, this is doing it as shtick all of a sudden. Like, this is where if you had a
do you want to go do some?
If you were big enough in the documentary space where it's like, oh, I'm going to become a jiu-jitsu expert over the next 10 years. I'm going to do a documentary.
My
or whatever.
road to black belt.
Yeah, yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it?
That would be great. I would love to see you as a black belt. Just very calm.
Yeah.
I'd choke that guy out.
It is good having that as an option. But the thing is that what I've learned from a lot of the defensive stuff is it's reducing escalation. So it's rather than, so if you watch the people who are really strong, I remember this in basketball. There was a guy who, like when I would court announce, there was a guy who had like a black belt. And
in what?
Can't remember.
Probably karate. There was I remember people who had their black belts years ago. It wasn't jiu-jitsu. It was always karate for us when we were young.
And so what's the difference, do you know?
A completely different martial art.
So what does that what is that? So martial art, do you know what is a martial art?
I don't know the definition of a martial art, but it's karate is I think Japanese. Is it?
I have no idea. And so anyway, but I remember it was interesting because it's almost like did you have mates that were bouncers? And if you
Craig Harper was a bouncer.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
But I did know a bunch of other.
And so if you had a mate that was like had a martial art or whatever and had their security thing, like I remember a guy that would do all that when Paris Hilton came out or whatever. He was like her bodyguard.
Yeah.
You can lose your like security license if you beat the shit out of someone just on the street. And so there's that whole thing around, like, I remember in the basketball, they're like, oh, watch out, blah, blah, it's going to, but yeah.
Well, I think
it'd be nice.
I would say that I haven't, just from meeting people who have been great at jiu-jitsu, different vibe to those who have been great at Muay Thai or kickboxing. Karate's different.
Yeah.
I reckon karate's in the same field as jiu-jitsu in that it's like you don't really know if someone's got it, but usually if someone's wearing tap-out pants, they could fucking head kick you.
Yeah, yeah, maybe it's a
but it is a real scene. I was at the Sports Aquatic Centre in Albert Park, and there was a jiu-jitsu tournament on, but you just got a sense of the culture.
What was the vibe? Lean?
Yeah, lean, like, but quite kind of happy.
Good core strength, good posture.
It's, you know what? If you're lonely and you don't have a great deal of friends, it's a chance that could be you. martial art is, it could be, I'm just speaking to, dude, embed yourself in something like a martial art. It is amazing like that. Like I used to spend 4-5 days a week training kickboxing, and the people and you just, the team, it's fucking sick. And it's so a lifesaver for some people. Yeah.
Okay.
There was like the head coach that I was always like, oh wow, this guy Nick Cara.
Who is he?
Oh, he's an animal. Look him up. Special K, Nick Cara. He was an epic kickboxer, Muay Thai kickboxer.
And so you laughed at me before about saying the kicking in Jiu Jitsu. So Jiu Jitsu's all on the ground. You were saying no?
You stand up, but you're not throwing punches. And so you stand, it can be standing wrestling. You could wrestle up top like you're just trying to. I wonder how many people get
their arms dislocated. I'm always worried about my shoulder getting dislocated. You reckon that would happen?
There's a high chance.
Okay.
But you tap and, I don't know, I'll do it.
Tap when I've got a fucking dislocated. Yeah, I think there's definitely, we need to work out a way of doing it.
For content.
No, just as a way where it's, like I remember doing. Do you
want to do a video of it? I'm sure we could. The place I want to start going to is MMA. It's something. It's in Collingwood, but they do a certain type of jiu-jitsu, and I'm sure we could get one of the trainers in a time when we're not, and he can just run us through some basics.
That'd be nice. I mean, I remember Helen O'Grady drama school doing that as a kid.
What?
So it was like after school. Like, you could play sport or whatever, which I did. I played, basketball, t-ball, tennis, or trained tennis, never actually played. Clay courts, very annoying for your shoes. But drama school. I remember just feeling a little bit like I was expecting that I was going to be acting and we'd be playing all these games. I'm like, this is all a bit childish for me.
You know what it is though? The feeling of self-concern going to these things is ego.
Yeah.
Like I feel the exact, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to meet all these people. I'm going to have to like, show the status of like, I'm a newbie. Like you want to get to, you see how comfortable it would be if you were a black belt and you're amongst it and you're like, you're
it's
in.
like CrossFit.
You're in.
But a friend of mine was saying she's going to start like in a swim squad. That sounds like the same, like a swim squad. Like you think about swim squads in high school or like just being an adult and starting in a swim squad. What does that take? That's like martial arts in your your bathers.
Well, it's probably less invasive. Like it's less personal space being invaded. Yeah. Like there is something, I think there's probably something good in the experience of starting something like a martial art and having that feeling of, you have to listen to somebody. There's someone better than you. You know your place because you are at the very beginning.
Can you see why this is hard for me?
Yeah, 100%. I see why it's hard.
Like it's just the but that's where growth is. Like if you can get through that, if you can get through that, you know what, like this isn't funny, because I think that I would be looking at all the funny bits of it, right? Which is like,
it's a protective mechanism though, because you're not worried about looking silly, and then you're like, I look silly in this fucking.
What's not even silly
in this outfit? Like you could but what I'm saying, your dialogue on yourself. You're like, I'm not. You see somebody that looks cool in their fucking gi. They got their black belt tied up, and they're just looking like they'll fuck you up.
Yeah,
that's not you or me.
But what about like so we did a workshop with Michael Bungay Stania.
Oh yeah,
and that had the same sort of like going up. Remember I got up on stage or whatever at the front and got coached.
Yeah.
And then like,
I didn't film that like the incident across the road because it was so fucking traumatic.
But then then everyone deconstructs what they learnt from the coaching thing.
That's right.
And then someone just like, I think that Josh is the real problem here. I think fuck you. Fuck you, whoever you are.
We stayed around after and fucked them up.
But that's that experience, right? Which is like, it's almost like, I remember, so when I was a kid, I did VCA film and TV school sort of thing in the evenings on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I was the youngest guy there, all these adults learning about filmmaking, and just the the culture, I remember like doing a screenwriting, like a what is it called? Like after hours, like at like a TAFE sort of thing, like learning about screenwriting, and all older people, because it's like what did they call that? After hours? What's it called? Like out of hours? I don't fucking know. Anyway, evening, like an evening course. And there is sort of that thing of like, oh, you know what? Like, yeah, let's go to the pub. Everyone, you know, after the screenwriting course, you would go to the pub and hang out. And I was saying to Bray, I was like, remember I actually like, I did that.
You went to the pub?
I would go to the pub, just sit just with like a little Coke Zero and just be chatting or whatever. And I just don't have it in me.
Yeah. Why?
Just because I'd rather be home. But I love travel. So this is what's confusing. I like traveling. And then I do...
That's your everyday life versus, you know, your at-home life here in Australia versus traveling. Are you the guy to do that? Could you imagine doing a course? So for instance, could you imagine learning, you're going to learn Spanish and you can do an evening course, night school, maybe that's what it's called. You're doing night school, learning Spanish, and then afterwards you all go out to the bar and have a drink. Maybe.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, I could. I probably wouldn't happen with Spanish. It'd be more at Jiu Jitsu.
You're going to have a drink after Jiu Jitsu or just...
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe that's the whole thing. Like you pick the culture where it's like, oh yeah.
It is healthy. Like the exercise one is great. Like there is something in it. It's expensive. And what we're talking about is just being totally uncomfortable and pushing through, because you will get to... I remember being in a position where I would go to kickboxing, feel great, know everyone.
I hated the footy club though.
It's not the same. Footy clubs have a certain vibe.
Match reports. Do you remember match reports in the footy club? So match reports were...
watching the game back.
No. So they would like, I think it would happen on a Sunday night and the parents would, you know, all drink or whatever. And they would go through every like a year level or whatever sort of age group. So, okay, you know, the under 12s played Narry Warren. Yeah. The scores were 6-7, 42 to 8-9, 38. The boys did a great job on the ground. Yeah. You know, special mention to Josh Janssen for, you know,
his sideline efforts.
Kicking his first goal for
some of the best running of water we've fucking seen. But it was a real thing. And you'd get like a Macca's certificate, like you would get to go to Macca's. But that's your childhood. How does that relate to now?
There's a bunch of adults there that are all doing. And so the thing is, but then there was also like my parents would go to trivia nights, or they would go to like so someone would know fucking what's his name, Russell Gilbert, and so Russell Gilbert would be fucking doing comedy and he'd bring his mates or whatever, and they'd all, you know, cash job. In Endeavour Hills.
It's better than your parents going to a swingers night.
Yeah, it's true. But isn't it the same thing? Like, it's it's interesting. But like, does that could you imagine going to a trivia night?
Oh, I've got no interest in that. I would rather something where I'm physically doing.
What would be an example of that? A swingers night.
A swingers night. You know.
Yeah. So you've been wanting to do the Jiu Jitsu thing for a while. So, I mean, I've only just said it for the first time today that it's like, oh, that sounds interesting. But it feels like your thing. It's like you saying, oh, I'm thinking of like joining the computer club down the road, because it seems like you should be doing it. So when you work it out.
Yeah, I'm having dinner tomorrow night with a friend who, you know, has done Jiu Jitsu for many years.
And so you just do it. It's a thing for life, is it?
Well, a lot of these people do it for life.
Wonder if it fixes your sore scaps.
Like anything, there's conditioning classes. That's a class isn't just, hey, we're just going to wrestle the whole fucking time. It's like you have to do exercise. It's The
last time I did something like this was joining a CrossFit gym. And
how'd that go?
Well, yeah, it was interesting. Yeah, like I did. You have moments of like, oh yeah, like I'm a part. Like everyone's got their mates, and you get the vibe, and you understand what's going on. And everyone's like, oh hi, how you going? Like
it's a close. Sorry, the club thing. Getting into me going to a jiu-jitsu place is, I feel, the same as school. going to a new school, you have to make friends, and you don't have to, but you will gravitate towards certain people, and you're all kind of sussing each other out. I don't know, but there's no way around it other than just leaning in.
Basketball, like joining a basketball team, but it's not giving you any of that's the same stuff. But I remember as a kid,
a random person's basketball team.
No, like I think a basketball team would be very easy to create.
Yeah, but then it's your mates, and then you come straight away. Yes. But it doesn't. Yeah, doesn't give you that. Anyway, we'll see if you've got any suggestions of somewhere in sort of around the Collingwood area. I feel like I need to make it convenient.
Yes.
There is one out in my.
Bulleen.
There's one in Templestowe. There's a Gracie Jiu Jitsu place.
Hi at thedailytalkshow.com. If you've got any suggestions on what classes we should join, maybe should TJ give Spanish a crack? Let us know. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good one.
Ciao. That's Italian. That's Italian.
See. What is it?
I don't know, mate.
Ciao. Por favor. Un chocolate caliente. I don't know. Sorry, guys. Bye.
Bye.